Welcome to 5 Minutes in the Word, a daily devotional in the Word of God.
Mr. Gary, working with youth for many years, the summertime was a time that we needed a little break when as soon as the summer was over because we're just always on the go. I'm grateful we have Logan now, and he's working with those youth, and he's a little bit younger than I am. He can keep up a little bit better. You know, any time you're busy, you're working hard, it's just good to get a little bit of rest. What does the Word of God tell us about rest? What's something we can learn about that today?
Well, what's interesting is that really the promised land for the Israelites was considered rest.
Right.
That's what it was. It's a great promise from God. But you get to chapter 3 of the book of Hebrews, and he's looking back and reminding them, because they all know this story. And beginning in verse 12, he says, "Beware, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God." And the word unbelief there could be translated unfaithful.
Okay.
Be careful lest you're unfaithful. Well, what's he talking about? Well, let's go on. "But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we have become partakers of Christ if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast to the end. What I would say today, if you'll hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion." So he's actually very subtly, but he's getting ready not to be too subtle.
Right, exactly.
He's very subtly saying, look, you've got a promise of rest. They had a promise of rest. And he's already subtly said they lost it because of failure to be faithful. And you don't want to go there. Instead, encourage each other every day. So that...
Oh, that's an important thing. Every day.
Every day. That's right.
He says it a couple of different times here, that he wants them to be, every day, as it's called today,
Yeah.
That's an important thing that we need to be doing.
It is because, well, today may not be too hard on you.
That's right.
Or it may not be too hard on me. But what about tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow could be totally different.
Could be.
And so then he goes on, "For who, having heard, rebelled? Indeed, was it not all who came out of Egypt, led by Moses?" And of course, that's a little bit of hyperbole because there were two fellows that did get to go on in, Joshua and Caleb.
Okay.
But when you think about 603,550 fighting men,
Right.
and two of them made it to the rest, then that means the rest is subject to being lost.
It is.
And that's a message that all of us need to hear, that you're not guaranteed.
Absolutely. He goes on and he says, talking about and looking there as we come down through this, verse 18, "And to whom did he swear that they would not enter the rest, but to those who were disobedient?" I mean, he's talking about this. This is kind of talking about our faith and our life. These people took specific actions to be disobedient to God, to not be faithful, and how that is connected. Actually, I think I skipped a verse 17. "And with whom he had provoked for 40 years, was it not those who sinned, whose bodies fell in the wilderness? And to whom did he swear that he would not enter the rest, but to those who were disobedient?" So they sinned, they were disobedient. That speaks to us, and we need to pay attention to that. What about verse 19? How does verse 19 kind of help us wrap this thought up?
Oh, it's really important if we've been following along, and we've been trying to. Remember, in verse 12 you had unbelief in the New King James Version, which could have been translated unfaithful. And then you come down to verse 18, and it's did not obey.
Right.
And then verse 19, so we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. So now we discover that unbelief or unfaithfulness and failure to obey go hand in hand. Therefore, we conclude that faithfulness is obedience, is doing whatever God says.